Hi guys, welcome back to the 401 Files. It's an absolute pleasure, as I always say, to bring each and every one of you back out here with me. It's an absolutely beautiful night tonight, so I've picked up my camera and decided to head back to the location that I've been documenting and exploring for the last few months now. The time is about 4:30, 5 o'clock, and yeah, it's just a really nice night to get out and talk to you guys. For anybody that's recently picked up a hoodie or a 401 Files t-shirt, thank you so much for doing that. I really hope that you all enjoy the t-shirts or hoodies that you've received in the post. And for anybody else that wants to know how to do this, just send me an email to 401files@gmail.com and I'll send you the link so you can pick yourself up a hoodie or a t-shirt as well. I'm going to push into these woods now and talk to you guys about a recent discovery that I made regarding this place and how that may be of some interest to some of the noises and things that we've been experiencing here as well. So it's very interesting. Can't wait to talk to you guys about that and also hear what your thoughts and opinions are on this new finding. So as I was just walking in then, guys, making the intro to this video, the whole "Hi guys, welcome to the 401 Files" intro, I heard these really two loud barks, but they were more like deep cough type barks. It's really hard to explain, but anyway, I've heard them before and I think it's like a warning sign that deers give off. And I've just seen two massive deers run out of these woods. I never really thought anything of it when I heard it. I just carried on talking, filming the video, the intro, and then looked up and seen these great big deers running out of the woods. I don't think Tallulah saw them, which is strange. Either I've got a dud as a dog, or she's just not a real dog, but she never seems to pick up on anything, because I saw those deers a mile off, so I'm not sure why she didn't. But anyway, just thought we'd document that because it's the first time out in this area that I've seen deer. What a great place. The scenery tonight is beautiful, so hopefully you guys watching this are really enjoying the scenery, the b-roll and the drone footage that I've been picking up as well. I mean, look at this for a view. This is a really good time to be out filming as well because it is dusk, or it's becoming dusk very soon. It's been torrential rain all day, and like I said, the sun is now starting to just peek through as it slowly goes below the horizon, so it's a great time for anything that might be lurking around. As we've just seen, the deers are out. Anything else out there lurking, this would be the time that they're going to be doing it. So the very first time that I'd heard of anything strange going on here in the North Yorkshire moors was a long time ago. I was only about 16, 17 years old, and I was desperate to join the army. And the guy in the recruiting office had basically said, look, this is probably a passing phase, it's a fad, we get it all the time. Maybe the best thing for you to do is go away, get a normal job, and hold that down for 6 months, come back with a good reference, and if it's still what you want to do, then we'll proceed with your application. So that's what I did. I was desperate to join. I went away and I got a job in a plant nursery. And it was while I was there in the plant nursery, there was a guy called Chris, obviously a lot older than me, worked there for many, many years, and we was all in the work shed one day, and Chris was talking to another member of staff, and the subject got onto UFOs, aliens, etc. You know how that normally happens. And obviously me being a wide-eyed 17-year-old kid, intrigued as to what these elders are talking about, I started listening in, and Chris was talking about an experience that he had here in the North Yorkshire moors. He was saying that he was driving on a long stretch of road, middle of nowhere, and up in front of him, maybe about 200 metres in front, was another car. And for about 2 miles, Chris observed this strange light through his passenger window, weaving in and out of trees and then coming up above the tree line and going real low to the ground and then hiding behind hills and things like that. It was just really, really weird, and at times it changed lights and changed colour. And so yeah, I'm listening in, and Chris is telling this other guy that worked there, and he said that there was a hill, like a really big hill in front of him, and as the first car that was in front went over the brow of the hill, Chris obviously lost sight of it, and as he came over, the car in front had pulled over. Like 2 people had got out, they were still at the side of the road observing what Chris had been watching for the last 2 miles, so they'd obviously seen the same thing. Chris pulled over at the side of the road and he was stood there as well talking to these 2 people, and for about 30 minutes they were just observing this strange light weaving in and out of the trees, shooting above the canopy, coming back down to the ground, hiding behind hills, and doing all sorts of really peculiar and strange movements that you just wouldn't associate with helicopters, drones or fighter planes. It was really, really strange, Chris said, and that neither of them that were stood there that night understood what they were looking at. And I remember, like, I never joined in the conversation. I never joined in. I never asked him what it was. I didn't want to look like an idiot or a fool. And as a kid, you always think that elderly people are trying to just basically pull the wool over your eyes or joke with you or whatever. I don't know. So I just left out of that conversation. But I remember leaving the work shed thinking, oh my God, like, if that is true, that's an absolutely amazing experience. I really didn't know too much about the North Yorkshire Moors either at that time. But obviously getting older, you hear lots more stories, and sure enough, there's been plenty of them since then. And some people that I've spoke to, some people that I've overheard and I've seen articles, read articles in the papers about this place, have mentioned seeing beings on the ground, like not just the light, but beings off. That was a deer. I've seen beings on the ground, off in the trees and stuff like that, off in the tree line. So yeah, awesome place to come and explore. Awesome place if you're interested in these phenomena to come and spend the day. And I don't come here expecting to see anything or find a UFO on the ground or anything like that. I just love being in the locations that I know these things have happened, and maybe, who knows, one day I will get lucky. I'm probably my own worst enemy, if I'm honest, because I like to look brave and I like to get scared and talk about seeing one of these things, whether it be cryptid or UFO, but truth be told, if I ever did see one, I'd be as scared as anybody else. So I am literally my own worst enemy. But hey, if you don't get out there and you don't put yourself in these situations to see one, then you'll always be left asking, like wondering and questioning whether they exist at all. So as long as I don't die, I should be fine.
UFO, do aliens exist?
100%. Look at the night sky. Look at the night sky. What? Are you having a laugh? Oh no. You know that compared with the perceived size of the universe, planet Earth is the equivalent of a billionth of a pinhead. Right? Yeah, that sounds good to me. We're on a billionth of a pinhead, and life as we know it only exists there. And elsewhere? Oh no, you're mad. Of course it exists. It's just a case of what is it, whether it's benevolent or malevolent, and it'll be a mixture of all of them. The idea that we're alone is, well, I mean, they call me mad. They call me mad.
Absolutely incredible place up here, and you can fully imagine people on this lonely road on their way home, seeing strange lights in the sky or something off in the distance that they can't quite explain. This is definitely one of those areas where you can imagine things like that do happen. It's a lonely, barren place up here. This is less than 1 mile away from where I've been camping, talking to you guys about strange noises, and this is the view. So off in about 1 mile over that way, in fact you can just see the tops of the trees there, I think, a bit further back is where I've been camping and creating these videos for you guys. But little did I know that this whole area is shrouded in mythology and some serious mysteries. Like I said, many people driving up and down this road do report seeing UFOs on their journey and strange lights in the sky. Unanswered questions. The ancient stone slab road is known as Wheeldale Road or Wade's Causeway. It is shrouded in mystery, a place where history meets legend. Who built the road? How old is it? Where did it lead to? Some archaeologists believe that the road may have been built late in the Roman era, when standards of road building had been changed. In the 4th century, Saxons regularly raided the coast, and the road may have led to the Roman signal stations near Whitby. Others now believe that it may even predate the Romans. Local legends tell of a giant named Wade who once lived in this area. He is said to have built the road for his wife Belle to herd her sheep along on the way of the moorland pastures. I'm not sure how well you guys could hear me back there when I was talking at the sign, trying to give you guys an insight as to what I found. And it's thanks to you guys that I found it, because the last time I was here talking to you, a lot of you dropped down in the comments box below and suggested that I go away and do some research, some history checking on this area. And in the back of my mind, I was really naive, because I thought, well, this is just an open expanse of land, and as far as I'm aware, you don't see no archaeological dig sites here. There's nothing really. It's just an open, vast, empty space. And so what would there likely be here of any interest? That's what I was thinking. But I listened to what you guys said. I went away, I sat at the computer and I did some history checking. And I've got to say, guys, it's completely blown me away, because I've always known this area to be a hotspot for UFOs and these cryptid sightings that people keep having. And I know that because I've heard stories from friends of friends. I've also seen things on the internet and in newspaper articles regarding the North Yorkshire moors and the strange things that go on here. But that's where it ended for me. But like I said, I took you all up on your offer. I went away and I did a history check, or a quick background check of this area going back hundreds and hundreds of years. And little did I know that this whole area is just littered with Saxon and Roman settlements. And in fact, only a mile in this direction, less than a mile in this direction, is a Roman road, or what is believed to be a Roman road. On top of that, there's also mythology and folklore surrounding this area, something that I never again knew anything about. But people have spoke or told tales about a giant that used to live in this area, and this story has stood the test of time for hundreds and hundreds of years. I never knew anything about that. And I'm a massive fan of folklore and mythology, because I always believed that, although not 100% true, there's got to be some kind of strength or believability to these stories for them to have lasted so long. Something must have sparked that story when it first started to originate. And so yeah, mythology and folklore, I definitely do love hearing things about that as well. So this whole giant story that lived in this area is completely blown me away. What a finding. And then, like I said, on top of that, we've got these Roman settlements. Now, did something happen here? Was there a battle? Was there some kind of a raid, and where people lost their lives? Is that what the talking is all about that we've been hearing? Is that some kind of, I don't know, burnt imprint in time of an event that happened thousands of years ago? This one thing of just sitting at the computer and doing a history or a background check has completely opened doors now to many different things that really do interest me. Yeah, what an amazing place. It only gets better and better every time I come back. And with the new knowledge that I've got of this place, it just makes me want to get back even more. Tallulah. Tallulah. Come. Look at this. Some really old fencing at one point must have ran across this opening. You can't imagine a reason for a fence being here. I mean, it just looks like we're stood in the middle of a forest. This old post here has definitely had a fence on it at some point. But there's no other traces of a fence other than this post, so that must have gone a long time ago. It's it's areas like this, it's these openings that you come out into. You kind of just like push your way through the forest and you end up in these open areas like this. And it's always at these points that I expect to see something run across, or I come out and I've startled something that's stood in the middle eating or something like that. I don't know why I think that, but it's just kind of these areas rather than in the middle of the forest that I expect to see something. Is that because somewhere in the back of my subconscious I have the Patterson Gimlin footage where the Bigfoot was out in the open just walking across the creek? I don't know why that is, but maybe that has something to do with it. But yeah, as I'm pushing my way through these things and you come out into these clearings, that is what I envision. I always envision to stumble across something or startle something that didn't expect to see me, and then it darts off or runs across into the forest. I don't know why, but yeah, just what goes through my mind. Well, there's a good water source in this area. Water everywhere, to be honest. Lots of marshy land and swamps like this, little swampy areas. And there's also a food source. We've seen the deers, and there's probably countless other animals living in these woods as well. So two of the biggest factors that people talk about when discussing cryptids is a food source and a water source and the land in which they live, like the area. So two of those boxes have been ticked. There's plenty of water and there's plenty of food. So I was just thinking about an absolute legend, and if you are into the sciences behind extraterrestrials and these thought-provoking topics, you've no doubt heard of Enrico Fermi. Enrico Fermi is an Italian-born physicist, and in 1950 asked a very simple question, but it's a question that stuck with many people and it's still valid today. And the story goes that in 1950, around a table during his lunch break, Fermi was sat with other physicists and they were all chatting amongst themselves about extraterrestrials and UFOs. And Fermi just came up with the question, well, where is everybody? And what he was referring to is the grand old age of the universe and the vast size of the universe. I mean, there's 150 trillion stars in the Milky Way alone, and each one of those stars has its own planetary system. We would assume that there is intelligent life out there, intelligent life that's capable of space travel. So where is everybody? That question sounds very simple on the face of things, but it is a great question to ask because it gets straight to the point, straight to the core question that everybody has burning in the back of their mind. Why are we the only ones? Like, where is everybody else? I have some theories, I have some thoughts on that, but yeah, such a great guy. He's probably contributed more to 20th century science than most, so yeah. You always find that the great ones, the great scientists, the great minds, your Einsteins, your Isaac Newtons, always go to the core questions. They always go straight to the root of the problem. And they just think differently, and Enrico Fermi was no different. Where is everybody? So if we assume then that Earth isn't unique, then it would be overwhelmingly likely that intelligent life elsewhere in the universe does exist. And even if that intelligent life only had modest expansion ambitions, then the universe has offered enough time for them to develop space travel of some kind. And so we would likely be expecting to see these things flying around and different species or races of alien visit this planet all the time, but we don't see that. And again, it brings us full circle to Fermi's question, why? So at this point, guys, drop down in the comments box below and add a few of your theories as well. Like, let's build up a little list of why we believe, or some of the theories why aliens aren't presenting themselves on a daily basis. Why would that be? Drop down in the comments box below and let me know what you think is the reason. A theory that I heard not so long ago was really quite clever because it was so simple that it might even be overlooked, but yet it makes sense. Like, somebody said that maybe there is a galactic law. There's a universal law that everybody has to abide by, and it states that any intelligent civilization past a certain point can't interact or interfere with a lesser species in the early stages of their development. That makes a lot of sense to me. Like, I can imagine that there would be a law or some kind of a rule that states if you are past a certain point of evolution or intelligence or awareness, that you can't go off to another planet just interfering with lesser beings. So maybe it is something as simple as that. We just don't know. But I really did like that theory, and I want to hear some of yours as well. So if you drop down below, guys, start listing some of the reasons why you think aliens aren't making their presence known on a daily basis. I personally believe that life here on Earth, humans, the existence of humans here on Earth, has been common knowledge within the solar system since, well, the beginning of time, since we very first stood upright and started walking across the open plains. I believe that intelligent species out in the universe, or the solar system at least, have known about us forever. I'll even go as far as saying that I believe Earth isn't our native planet. I don't believe humans are native to this planet. And I know that a few of you are going to think, oh, Ben's gone crazy, that sounds so far-fetched. But there is reasons or methods behind my madness, because a lot of people talk about these underground cave systems and deep caverns where they spot or sight some strange looking creatures down there. And when you look at the lifespan of Earth, it's been around a very, very long time, and humans have only been a very, 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 very small fraction of that time. So what was going on before we arrived? Who lived here then? I don't believe, and I can't compute in my head, that nothing was happening until we arrived. It's just a very, very small-minded way of thinking. David Icke talks about the reptilians and how Earth is their home planet. Some people talk about a galactic war and how the reptilians were forced underground. There's many different theories to suggest that this wasn't our planet to start with. I once heard a guy who was a medical professional, and he was talking about how he believed the same thing. He was saying that humans are not set up to live here on Earth. And this is one of the reasons why we struggle later on in life with bad back problems and we start hunching over, because our home planet had a very different gravity, a very different atmosphere and all these different things. And we suffer with so many things that animals on this planet don't. It's like we almost came from somewhere that had a different everything, really. It was fascinating to listen to, but yeah, I do believe in that we have been known about, our presence has been known about for a very, very long time.
Whenever you hear the word Bigfoot or UFO, what do you immediately think of? For many of us, the first image that comes into our mind is of little green men or a large, hairy, upright walking creature. When you hear about a UFO or Sasquatch sighting, where do you imagine these things taking place? For many people, a UFO sighting will likely conjure up images of some remote forested area in the US. If you're talking about Bigfoot, it's likely going to be Canada. But what if I told you there was somewhere else in the world that is much smaller than Canada and the US, but still, somewhere that receives plenty of eyewitness reports on both topics and is shrouded in ancient history that dates as far back as 900,000 years ago? Every year here in the UK, rumours of a wild man and other strange lights in the sky are being reported by hikers, cyclists, runners, campers, gamekeepers, and even holiday makers. My job here isn't to go out into these places and prove anything is real or fake. My job here is simply to document my thoughts and archive any of my findings. Through doing this, I hope to give a voice to thousands of people who may otherwise be cautious about speaking openly on such strange phenomena.